Nigeria is a strange spot because I've never been, but when you look at the numbers of successful immigrants, like businessmen and people that have come over from Nigeria and how industrious they are, and then you look at how many successful Nigerian scammers there are, like, it's a wise, very clever place.
You got the email from the prince too, huh?
I didn't get it. Well, I'm sure I have. But the one I was thinking about was Jamie was telling me a story yesterday about a guy who, what did he sell? He sold a non-existent bank.
Airport.
To
an airport.
Yeah.
To a bank.
That's right. He sold a non-existent airport to a bank. There's been several stories over the last couple of weeks about Nigerian scammers making big scores.
Yeah, there's one that I think closed down a Brazilian bank. They took so much of their money that the bank had to shut down.
What is it about Nigeria? Why are they so good at that?
A lot of smart and enterprising people, and I think if that's channeled in the right way, then that's a very good thing. But I think some people
obviously the resources are very limited, so they're deciding to just go dark and scam people. But as a person who hasn't been a victim of this, it's quite amusing.
Yeah, I mean, if you see some of the stuff that can get pulled off, it's quite impressive.
Pull that story.
It is very much like, man.
It's actually 330 equivalent to American dollar, 330 million.
Wow.
Jesus
It happened in the 90s, though. I guess the story's just now going around for whatever reason, but it happened in the 90s, which is what this says.
A con man once sold an airport that didn't exist for $330 million. Now, to stop and think about that, $330 million in the 90s is probably like $600 million today or something. Fucking bananas. That's hilarious.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff that
Nigerian fraudster and con artist Emmanuel. How do you pronounce his last name? Nwude.
Moo-day, maybe. Moo-day.
Say it again.
Moo-day, I'd guess something like that.
What are you starting with a M? How are you saying it? Moo-day.
With an N.
But
are you Emmanuel?
But how are you doing it?
It's an N, but the pronunciation's a little bit different.
Say it again.
Moo-day.
It sounds to me like you're saying Moo-day.
No, it's an N.
Go ahead again. I'm gonna close my eyes.
Weirdly enough, that guy's name is 2 letters off my actual first name.
Really?
Yeah, my
tell
my
everybody
first
what your
name.
real first name is.
Nzube.
Whoa.
Which is spelled Nzube. So that's actually 2 letters different.
So you just said Zuby would be a little bit more.
Yeah, Zuby's just easier.
It's cool. It's a cool name too. No one has that.
Yeah, thank you.
I've never heard of Zuby before. So he pulled off the 3rd largest con in history by selling a non-existent airport to a Brazilian bank for $242 million US dollars. Before Nigerian internet scams became synonymous with your original early 2000s email account, Moo-day, did I do it?
Yeah, close enough.
Thank you. Successfully convinced an unassuming bank manager by the name of Nelson Sakaguchi that he was selling a yet-to-be-built airport for a price of $330 million. As the former director of the Union Bank of Nigeria himself, Moo-day was privy to confidential information that was crucial to him pulling off his long con. Also, he knew shit about banking. Using the information, he then impersonated the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria at the time, Paul. Okay, here's another one. Paul Oguma?
Oguma.
So you wouldn't go Wooma. It's Oguma. Yeah. And connected with Sakaguchi, we need Steve Aoki to come back and help us with the Japanese name, to inform him of a mouth-watering deal. Nigeria's plan to build a brand new airport in another one, Abuja?
Abuja, yeah.
Okay.
That's the capital.
To juice it up a bit for poor Sakaguchi, Moo-day promised the head of the Brazilian bank a commission fee to the tune of $10 million US dollars if the deal was approved. To get it over the line, Sakaguchi paid $191 million in cash, as you do, and the remainder in the form of outstanding interest awaited patiently for the construction of said airport.
Wow.
That's
the kind of thing you can only pull off once, huh?
Yeah. If you can get that guy again, you're a wizard. I just saw a guy that got scammed, and there was a documentary about it. It was a television show, rather. It was really sad because he was a dude who was an older gentleman, looked like he was in his 60s, and he was convinced that there was this woman who was, his love, and she lived in Europe, and he traveled there, and he was sending her money and the whole deal, and he traveled there twice to meet her, and both times she couldn't see him. both times.
Oh, wow.
But he still believed, and his daughter was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. This guy really believes, and you could see he had this lost look in his eye, like he really believed that there was a woman over there that was corresponding with him back and forth, and he was sending her money. Like, he sent her a lot of money. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was more than $100,000, if I remember correctly, and he really believed that she was going to be there for him. And then when he went over there, something came up, and she couldn't meet him. And
yeah, it's weird. With stuff like this, I always feel like in some way you kind of feel sad for the person, but in another you're kind of like, what were you thinking? Like,
how do you bounce back from that? Like, people hit some lows.
Yeah.
People hit some lows in life. How do you bounce back from thinking that there's a girl in Europe that's going to be your love and sending her $100,000 and traveling over there twice and getting duped both times? And then how do you bounce back from that?
I think the first thing you should do is not tell anybody. Like, take the L without just quietly. just take it quietly and privately, and don't tell people.
His daughter knew about it.
Okay.
So it was like, and then the camera crew. I mean, this motherfucker brought a camera crew.
Man.
I don't know why. I think the show, I very vaguely remember this, and I think it was about 10 years ago. I think the show was all about people that were getting scammed.
Okay.
And it was about why people get scammed and what is it that makes people believe ridiculous things.
Yeah.
But when it comes to romance and money, those are the two where people get greedy.
Yeah, I was literally going to say it's greed. It's greed, because only greedy people can fall for some of those things. I mean, you see some of those scams and it'll come through saying, okay, I've just inherited $30 million and I need somebody in the U.S. with a U.S. bank account to help me out with this, and I'll give you a 10% cut. And, that should raise a lot of red flags for anybody who's kind of thinking with their head on straight.